article just went live at prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com. The article is up there right now. You need to hit refresh because it just went up literally 2 minutes ago. Bill Maher, we need to promote death, is the headline. That's a quote. The planet is too crowded. Let's kill the right people. And this is Bill Maher. During a recent appearance on the StarTalk Radio Show, real-time host Bill Maher expressed his desire to see more people killed via abortion, suicides, and death penalty because the planet is too crowded and we need to promote death. And this is a host of an HBO television show, as you know, and who's always there lecturing us about how he's high and mighty. We have a clip of that in a moment. Asked by the host Neil deGrasse Tyson what he thought about the death penalty and abortion, Maher reaffirmed his support of both, remarking the Pope is consistently pro-life. I am consistently pro-death. Expressing how he was pro-death penalty, Bill Maher said, my motto is let's kill the right people. I'm pro-choice. I'm for assisted suicide. I'm for regular suicide. I'm for whatever gets the freeway moving. That's what I'm for. Well, you have a freeway because of a large population is able to build that, idiot, said Maher, adding, it's too crowded, the planet's too crowded, and we need to promote death. Now, you saw the big bioethics publication come out 6 months ago, and Paul Watson found it and made it a big national news story, drudgereport.com, others linked to it, thank God, and it got out. And at first, the media said, this must not be true. And the commenters couldn't believe it. They went and read it. It's like, wow, it is true. It's not just Peter Singer at Princeton. It's the main bioethics groups. Listen, Dr. Pianka at UT in the biology department 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it's an Endgame, my film, he said, I can't wait for airborne Ebola to be released. It's going to kill 90%. Me and my family are ready to die. It's a good thing. FBI even went and visited him after I covered it. He went to the Texas Academy of Sciences. He's gotten awards in Europe, too. And there was a 3-minute standing ovation. I had the reporters on with crying by Texas scientist, the top scientist, when he projected a huge wall of red skulls saying, mass death is coming. This is a death cult. And it sounds crazy, because they are crazy. See, I'm not crazy for covering them. I sound crazy covering them. I get that. I mean, if I gave you Roman history of Caligula and Nero, or if I read Aztec rituals on air, I'd say that's a crazy show. No, Aztec rituals are crazy. Guys, we print me an encyclopedia list of Aztec rituals, so they'll hear for themselves. Sexual mutilation, taking a big cord through your tongue with obsidian glass and slicing your tongue open, chopping your children's hearts out, eating them. I mean, that's crazy. I'm not for that. I'm against it. And these guys are into death, and this happens in a decadent cycle. Camille Paglia has written about it. Many others have written about it. It's happened throughout history. We're entering a very, very decadent phase right now. And we're in trouble, okay? Because every culture gets these crazies in charge, and for someone that's nothing but materialistic and decadent, they start hating everyone because they really hate themselves. They're projecting it to simplify it, and they want death. And this article is very important to get out to people, and I'm going to have Watson, who's just doing a great job, add some context, Paul. I know you rushed this out where your article about, hey, let's kill the babies up to age 3. They're now saying, let's kill the old people. See, first it's, oh, die with dignity. Then it's, we're going to kill you. Oh, and oh, yeah, there is death panels. You don't need that surgery. You're old. You don't need, new retinas. You don't need new lenses. You don't need a new knee. See, when you lower quality and then say society has a set sum, civilization collapses. When you demand quality, demand somebody pick up your trash at McDonald's, now there's more jobs, now there's more quality, now they've got to compete. It's like a reef system where the more industry, the more business, the more ideas, the better there are jobs. The globalists sell shutting things down and taking from somebody will give you a job. Raising taxes will give you a more welfare. No, it will reduce the tax base. But they know this. They want to make you poor. This is a death culture. And there's hundreds of examples of this. I can play Fox News clips saying, too many kids is what's making the planet worse. Really? The actuaries are about 8.5 billion people by 2025, and then it drops dramatically down to about 3 billion if the trend follows the computer models by, 2030 or so. You can pull these numbers up. They vary. 2130, excuse me, not 2030, 2130. So that's the type of stuff we've got going on here. And I've gone over the actuaries. I've played some of the educational actuaries here on air that shows the numbers. In fact, Paul, why don't you add that to your article, that population study group, you know, that has all the little black and white graphics showing the actual numbers of where Europe's 1.3 replacement rate, some countries even 1.2, Japan's 1.2, 1.3, depending on which year you look at. The U.S. is 1.5, but we have a huge immigrant influx, so the population grows slowly. It's now at 312 million. So the world's 7,100,000,000 or so. And it's going to hit about 8.5 billion and then start going down. You need to now keep it at that level at least, or there won't be two people to take care of two people. There won't be two people to pay taxes for the two people that are retired. See, so they get you in a nanny state, they get you dependent, then they start cutting the resources off, and then you fight even more for big government, thinking bigger government will give you the resources. See, that's the trap. But you don't have to be a dumb animal. You can take control of these manipulations and be conscious of it and then get into a war game level like the globalists are and then see their whole plan. And let me tell you, when you see it, you know how crazy it is. So this is a very important story. Let's play the clip and then go to Paul Watson. He's joining us on Skype. Here is Bill Maher on StarTalk Radio Show, and this has gotten no attention. Paul discovered this. It's breaking now. I think this is a big national story because it just shows these are not liberals. Like Margaret Sanger said in her letter she said to foundations to get money from Rockefeller, she said, we got to kill the black weeds. To do it, we got to pose as liberals. We got to hire blacks. We got to get abortion going. And she's hailed as a liberal. And even though Hitler worshipped the woman, and she worshipped him on record. Again, they call Dr. Watson, you know, that discovered DNA, a big liberal. I mean, he gets Nobel Prizes, and he says blacks aren't humans. And neither are you, by the way. Only he, the super race, is. You know, these people are dangerous, folks. And they're not liberals. That's their camouflage. They're dangerous. Here's Bill Maher, very sick.
I mean, you know, I'm not randomly going around in the street saying, hey, we're going to kill you. I mean, we're talking about people who've earned it. But as I say, you know,
kill the right people.
Kill the right people. But I'm just not one of those people who thinks all life is precious, you know, because people find out that they're going to have a child who is not normal in some way, and they have an abortion because they don't want to raise a child with severe challenges. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
On the videos up at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com and Paul Watson's report, his Skype's having problems, but he's about to join us here in a moment. This is eugenics, because then it's like, well, you might have a predisposition for cancer or a predisposition for aggression to authority that they call mental illness, which they're now saying. See, once they pretty much sterilize us, you've got to go in and then have the designer baby, because they can now create the artificial leg, but then they design. And just like they add backdoor stuff into your cell phone to track you, and just like DARPA created the internet, the system admits they're going to now, with the designer humans, they're going to decide. And that's what they're saying. They're saying if a child has any health problems or even doesn't, if you just want to kill your kid up to age 3, kill him. And that's in prestigious bioethics reports. You saw that in national news. The London Telegraph picked it up. Daily Mail picked it up. Associated Press picked it up after we reported it. And, you know, some of the U.S. news was like, well, yeah, I mean, kill kids up to 3 because humans are trash. I mean, the TSA takes your daughter and grabs her. I mean, they rip the colostomy bag off an old lady. They make an old lady, you know, take bandages off from her surgery. I mean, it's about, we're trash. Yeah, somebody died of a taser the other day. Yeah, you know, big deal. Yeah, okay, the cancer rate's up. There's too many people. You know, we have all these bioscientists, genetic engineers who've on record said, well, okay, yeah, GMO is sterilizing you. What do you think we designed it for? You think we just put one trait in there so it would grow quicker? We put other stuff in there. I mean, they can make crops grow HIV if they want. They can make crops grow chemicals. It's called pharmacological crops. And they're designing them, and you're eating a chemical bioweapon. And it's funny to them. I mean, it's the power trip. And I've been around these globalists. They sit there arrogant and snake-like, real cold-blooded, and they think you don't know. They think you're an animal and your life means nothing. Let me tell you something. I'm not an animal, and you're an animal. You're a dirty, filthy animal, Bill Maher. You're not a human being. The type of stuff you're pushing is what Hitler did. And it's what the Soviets who were eugenicists did. And it's what Mao did. And it's what murders hundreds of millions of people and ruins civilizations. Hey, I want to be out on the freeway. I want less people. Well, you know what? How about then you kill yourself, Bill Maher? Now, I'm not saying Bill Maher should actually kill himself, but if he's saying little babies need to die, and he's saying he wants to kill people because there's 2 people on the highway, Bill Maher, you kill yourself, okay? before you call for dead children, before you call for all this crud. You kill yourself, Bill Maher. Bill Maher, you're a danger to humanity. You're a threat to humanity. You hear that, everybody? Bill Maher is a threat to humanity. And what he's surfacing there is what his cult's all about. Okay, and they're all over the place shooting their mouths off. I can tell you how many times I've been talking to an abortionist or one of their supporters, and they'll look over and go, we're going to get rid of these blacks, and there's nothing you're going to do. You know, I've played those clips on air. But the truth is, they just pick a group they think people want to kill. The truth is, they just want to kill. They just want to kill, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they're into. They're into death. Well, you know what? I'm not into death. I'm into life. But what's sick is they put people on welfare to make them the blobs they say they are, to get them dependent so they can then sell the idea of killing them. It's sick. The truth is they want to dominate everybody, dumb everybody down so they can control the future destiny of humanity. This is the ultimate act of selfishness. Tear down humanity instead of building it up. Disgusting, Bill Maher. Disgusting. Disgusting. And I think God's going to judge Bill Maher for his insolence and his arrogance. It's one thing to do evil, but I found if you brag about it, I've studied history, I've studied the way things work. It's like saying not even God can sink the Titanic and it sinks on its maiden voyage. Bill Maher, I'm not cursing you because only God does that. But well, you're cursed to hell. There's no doubt about that. You love evil. You love hurting the little ones. But let me tell you something, pal. I wouldn't want to be you when you meet your maker. And I know people that have had dinner with you privately and tell me about the stuff you say. I know you hate God. You hate God. It's not that you don't believe in God. You hate God because you've turned your heart to evil instead of turning your heart towards what's good. Ugh. Let's go ahead and talk to Paul Watson. Paul, this report, you found it. A listener, I guess, sent you a tip. There's no news on this. This is a big deal to say we need to promote a culture of death, Paul Watson.
Well, yeah, it's interesting, Alex, that you mentioned before that this is a new cult, because most people think the Manson family cult ended about 30, 40 years ago. It actually didn't, because Charlie Manson, who of course masterminded all those murders, his followers carried them out, he morphed into a kind of new age guru who proselytized about global warming and overpopulation, and he attracted a whole new cult of followers based on that meme. And so I guess Bill Maher is one of them, because the context of this discussion on the StarTalk Radio Show with, as you said, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is a humanist and an astrophysicist, was global warming, it was overpopulation, and then it ended up with Bill Maher basically admitting that he wants to promote death, he wants to promote suicide, abortion, the death penalty, simply because it's going to get rid of more people and make his life more convenient. But as he mentioned before with the UN population figures, the people who make this argument about overpopulation do it completely out of their own egotistic convenience, because the actual figures show that by 2020, the population replacement rate of 2.1 is going to level off. And by the 2050, we're going to have a massive depopulation crisis, which is why countries like Russia in a mad scramble trying to encourage their population to have children, because it's going to be a demographic crisis coming up in the next couple of decades. And even in places like Brazil, Indonesia and India, their fertility rates are rapidly declining. We all know why. And now people in those countries, which obviously you would expect that overpopulation would be the concern, now there's concern in even those countries that the drop in fertility is going to cause a depopulation crisis. And that's the UN, that's not me saying that, that's the UN Population Division's own figures saying that.
And it's what the White House Science Czar called for in eco-science. They're adding stuff to food and water. And we've got just countless bioscientists, genetic engineers, and ethicists going, yeah, we need this. Yeah, we're sterilizing you. And the thing is, it's happening to the yuppies, too, that think it's a great idea, when the West is going to be completely gone. I mean, the West is dying.
Exactly. That's why everybody's saying you've got to have kids. They're giving people benefits to have kids in Russia. And then on the flip side, you've got people like Bill Gates saying that he's going to use vaccines to reduce population.
And then the crowd at TED TV goes, ha, 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 when he shows the graph of bringing humans down to zero, because it's all so cold-blooded, hidden in plain view. Just like the guys on C-SPAN saying, let's stage false flags. I mean, they operate like we're zombies and don't hear them.
Well, they know that most people are sitting there watching sitcoms for 6 hours a night and they're not really paying attention, so they think they can get away with it. But, yeah, I mean, Bill Gates obviously, again, saying, yeah, we're going to have death panels and we're going to restrict end-of-life care for the elderly because that money can be better spent. So, both in terms of vaccines and restricting end-of-life care, he's saying, let's just kill people. And that's precisely the rhetoric being echoed by Bill Maher in this clip.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. We're going to break here in a moment, Paul. Other points you're going to add when we come back in the final segment with you ahead of more calls?
Well, just the fact that the whole population reduction scam is exactly that. It's a complete myth. People have bought into it for their own selfish reasons, and it's simply not true.
Well, yeah, I mean, at its heart, it's the ultimate form of selfishness and trendy classism to just, I mean, I've sat there and watched environmentalists at national parks look at everyone and go, people shouldn't even be allowed here. It's just a power trip. Alex Jones here with a message that could revolutionize health in this country. Going back about a year and a half ago, I began to learn about the incredible health effects of longevity products. Aaron Dykes lost 92 pounds. We're going to show you some before and afters. Aaron, break down what happened, your story.
I've worked really hard with diet and exercise to try to lose weight, but I just didn't get the results. It just didn't happen. Then I saw what you were doing with InfoWarsTeam.com. I wasn't even trying to lose weight, but I got it because I wanted to feel better energy. I wanted that nutrition. Didn't even understand how that could kickstart my own weight loss goals, but the products did that for me. I found myself suddenly losing weight, more energetic, wanting to exercise, wanting to eat the right foods.
And they don't even advertise it as weight loss. I want to challenge our radio listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com, sign up as a distributor, and get wholesale pricing discounts at InfoWarsTeam.com. These lovers of death who are promoting a police state, but collectivism in the way of helping people, they always want you to have health care, government run, because they care about you. You know, what they want is the government run your health care so they can euthanize your butt. They've gotten rid of the Hippocratic Oath. Government-run health care means eugenics health care. And everything you heard out of Maher's mouth is a Malthusian statement. You know, there's a reason we don't want to abort children that have Down syndrome, because we know that's how it started in Nazi Germany. Then it's going to be a child who's got a deformed foot. Then it's going to be, I mean, I can't tell you how many people with handicaps, how many people with problems end up being hyper intelligent in other ways and delivering such amazing gifts to humanity. And what you do to the least of these, you've done to me. And if you don't believe the Bible, folks, look, when you have this barbarous attitude, civilization collapses. And I'm sick of all of the liberals saying they're liberal when I've been around them. They're not liberals, folks. They are sick, twisted, hateful, demonic trash. Oh, they make me sick. They are, and the fact that they're so camouflaged and they're demons is what they are. They think there's no God, but when you really get into it, they're always into the occult, and they really are occultists. Well, they're Satanists is what they are. Bill Maher is a pig-like Satanist, even if he doesn't consciously say that. Bill Maher is everything for me. I want everybody dead so the highway's wide open for me, because I'm a pig. I'm ranting, Paul. Make your point. Will you add, I know we've had the clips, I forget the name of the big population study group that has the black and white YouTube videos with accurate numbers showing how society's going to collapse if we don't at least have 2 children. Well, it's 2.2 for every 2 adults. You need a little extra for those that die in wrecks and things. But you add into the population collapse that's happening in the Western world. I mean, we're entering a road warrior scenario here. All of the demographers say. But meanwhile, we have demographers and articles saying world government cut off the food, sterilize the people. That was in the news yesterday. I mean, it's so crazy, Paul.
Well, yeah, it was a UN blueprint from 2 years ago. They said, look, global warming's being discredited. We need to replace it with this overpopulation. So that's exactly what they've done. And it's neo-eugenics, isn't it? Because you mentioned a minute ago about Nazis. Well, of course, the Nazis got it from the British. And you can pick up this at numerous different strands. But one I find interesting is here in Britain, they have all these magazine articles encouraging women in their 20s to get sterilized before they're 30.
And it's so sexy. You've done articles. It's so cool to get sterilized. And don't just get your tubes tied. Go all the way. Cut the ovaries out. Really show us you're a feminist. Ugh, yeah. Yeah, cut out the jewel of creation. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's all being run by Marie Stopes International. And who was Marie Stopes? Well, she was a feminist in the 1920s, 1930s, who wrote love letters to Adolf Hitler, advocating that the poor of character, drunkards and diseased people be sterilized. And she actually attended the Nazi Congress on Population in Berlin in 1935. So she's this big feminist icon hero in Britain. They put her on the stamps. Their organization offers sterilization for women. And she, in fact, went on to leave most of her estate to the Eugenics Society, which later became the Galton Institute. And the Galton Institute today is involved in family planning facilities in the third world. So we all know what that means. So you can trace it right back to the Nazis. You can trace it back to the
And let's get one thing clear for even the racister people out there. Even if you want to kill brown people and you think, you know, get rid of them or whatever, they're killing you, moron. The globalists don't want you either. You're being hit by it all, too, idiots. Idiots. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.